Dear parents and learners, thank you so much for your time and that you're actually spending your valuable time at looking at this video or WhatsApp clip. There's quite important information that will be conveyed to you now. This is not only for grade 12s, although I will talk in great length about what is expected of the grade 12s, but what I'm about to say really has an impact or have reflection on all the grades in the school. Don't think I just say this because I have to, but I really want to thank all the learners and the parents for their fantastic cooperation during these difficult times. It's actually heartwarming when I hear that sometimes a parent apologizes so profusely because an assignment is handed in only the next morning when it was perhaps due the previous evening due to a constraint of not having internet or data or such things. I look at it in a positive way that at least there's work happening at home, and that is happening in most cases. So dear parents, thank you. Learners, well done on that. Indeed, there is a time and a place for everything, and now is also the time to actually do work at home. I am extremely thankful for that, and the fact that parents are still paying school fees because they know and they can actually see that the school is still being run. Also with this whole lockdown situation, dear parents, and this is now only perhaps for the grade 12s, quite disappointing that we had to cancel the matric dance. It's sad. I really, really sympathize with you, and I wish that there was something else that we could do. Let's hope for a miracle. We never know what might happen in future, but for now, unfortunately, matric dance being cancelled. Other things that cannot happen this year, prize giving. We're not allowed to have that. Valediction, that sort of thing. Parents' evenings. But all these things will be managed, and we as a school will make the best possible plans we can. As far as possible, no learner will be disadvantaged according to colours they might have gotten for a sport or that sort of thing. We will give the learners, obviously, the benefit of the doubt as far as these things is concerned. On that note, we are so blessed that we can start school again on the 1st of June, even though only the grade 12s will come back on the 1st. The other grades are to follow soon, and as soon as we know when that dates are, dear parents, we will inform all. At this stage, I believe there will be a system of platooning that will be applicable, and that within 2 weeks after the 1st of June, the other grades will actually be allowed to be back on school at different dates. On that note, a lot of responsibility will be cascaded down to principals to make sure that schools are safe. If this happens and if the school is allowed to have the choice of who are being taught when, whether it's half days or more days, at Roosevelt High School, there's actually two major differences that will happen. First of all parents, please take note. We will have longer teaching days. The school will only end every day, the school day, at 15:45. I will explain to you now why. Also, we will have school on Saturdays until 1300 hours. Now, all the grades, please take notice of the following. The moment you are allowed back at school, grade 12s, you 1st of June, the day will start every day with an exam. This is to test what you have learned during the lockdown. The purpose is to test that you do your work that you were required to do during the lockdown. The exam of the previous day will be marked that night by my teachers. The next day, for those subjects, learners will be divided into different groups. The learners who have done their work during the lockdown will be taught by different staff members that will carry on with work and will spend more time on new work. Learners that didn't do what they were supposed to do will not keep the learners back who have actually complied and who were interested enough in the schoolwork to actually do it. You will then have to be retaught the work that you don't understand or didn't do. Why are we doing this? To give the learners that didn't work once again an expanded opportunity, but also the learners who did spend their time well and did plan and did work during the lockdown, that they are not being kept back by those learners who are not actually that interested. A learner who is actually aiming in grade 12 now for distinctions will have done their work. You will not be disadvantaged. You will be taught further. You will be taught additionally. You will have more opportunities in a smaller group to really expand your knowledge. I just think that is fair. Other grades, take note of this. When you return to school, whenever that is, as I've said, your day will start with an exam early in the morning due to these things. Through the system, parents, you can notice there will be different classes, smaller groups. This is what you want to hear. I understand that. There will be no class with more than 20 learners. The average class will be about 15 learners or less even. And that's also why we're doing the testing or the screening before the time, that we can deliver appropriate teaching, but also to benefit the learners who are up to date and have actually applied themselves during the lockdown. I'm very thankful that the teachers at the school are willing to actually work longer than can really be expected of them. There will be 2 breaks for the learners to actually give them an opportunity to rest. And my teachers will also teach on Saturdays. On this note, everybody must comply with all rules for social distance. Parents, please be on time. That there is no congestion after the school has closed at 15:45. On that note, at this stage, we cannot have any buses running. When the whole school is back, we will perhaps introduce that system again. But also on that note, nobody can be late. According to protocol, we must test every learner or every person actually that entered the premises temperature. Therefore, nobody can be late. The school gate will have to close at 7:36. That's the time that the school gate has always closed. Once you're inside, we will give you an opportunity for this to happen. But if you are late, there will be no access to the school. We just don't have the staff to manage this. And according to protocol, as I've said, this needs to happen according to the law. So please, we cannot have a system where we can have different people, different staff members that do these kind of testing when they are supposed to be in class. So I'm begging of everybody to please be on time. And as I have just explained, you cannot be accommodated late at school in these times. On that note, if you are tested and your temperature is above the norm, the parents will be called and that child must be picked up immediately. Therefore, parents, it's also expected that you test the temperature of your child before they come to school. On that note, when a learner comes to school, it is expected that all rules will be obeyed. Also the school uniform regulations. Matrics, some of you might still have hair that was done for the matric dance or something like that. Of course, it's been 2 months, 56 days that you've been at home. Rectify that with immediate effect. Every rule must be complied with. You will, however, be allowed to bring a blanket to school, because the learners will, this is the next thing, will actually sit in the same class wherever it's possible, and teachers will rotate. This is to have a minimum amount of movement around the school, so therefore you are advised by now already, that you will be, unfortunately, in the same class for possibly the whole day. Teachers will come to you to teach. This is, as I've said, for safety reasons. Breaks will be staggered, different grades, different times. Even the same grade 12s, you that come back now, different classes, different sections of the school. This is all for your safety. Parents, please speak to your learners according to this. Ask them to abide by the rules. However, learners, if you don't abide by the rule, if you are disruptive in class, if you don't follow the protocol for social distance, you will be asked to leave school immediately. We don't have the time now for any other focus besides academics. No tolerance will be there for any learner who don't work with the teachers now. We don't have the time or the luxury to first get anybody in line before the class starts. You will be expected to know that this is serious times. Serious teaching needs to happen now. And therefore, the moment the teacher enters a class, there will be silence. You will do your work and you will do what is required. My request to the staff is to minimize homework. That's also why the school day is a bit longer. That we have more time in class. I know you get home later and you leave home early to be on time. Therefore, the time at home can be spent on studying. And as I've said, we will really try to minimize homework where possible. Learners, my teachers is not going to search through your bags for cell phones. There still is zero tolerance. All rules still apply. If you find a cell phone on you now, and I know some are going to take a chance, and you know all of you will be caught in the long run. The fee to get your cell phone back, if we must confiscate that from you, will be 1,000 rand. I hope this really deters everybody to do what is wrong. All learners, especially the other grades that's not returning now on the 1st of June, all work will still continue to be sent home on a WhatsApp group or on an email as it happened in the past. Even though we continue with school, this will be the norm for the rest of the year, so that parents also know what is being taught. And if for some reason a learner was late or something and they couldn't attend school on a day, that they have the work at home. However, as our minister has said, the best place for a child is in a classroom. Therefore, see that you are on time, actually come to class prepared and actually abide by all the rules that we have stipulated. There will be different gates of entry for different grades. Grade 12s, you have to notice that you will use the main gate for drop-off and collections in the afternoons. Other grades, you will be informed in due time which gates you should use. For the Muslim learners, at this stage, we cannot allow you to exit the school grounds. But I understand your request to still pray on a Friday afternoon. Therefore, I have already contacted the Imam. Prayers will happen at school, and that whole process will be facilitated for you at school. This enables you to pray and still spend the whole day at school. As I've said, unfortunately at this stage, no bus will be able to pick up learners and bring them to school. We will keep you informed as this process will change in the near future. Parents, unfortunately, at this stage, we're not allowed to actually receive you at school. Therefore, if you have a problem, do your correspondence with us via email, as you have been doing up to now. Unfortunately, also at this stage, we can't allow the tuck shop to be open until we get to the appropriate level where that is allowed. So therefore, parents, see that your learner have a healthy snack and lunch that they can consume during break. Remember, they are here early and they only leave school now later. So please make provision for that. And I'm very sorry, but this is according to the rules. It is very important that every learner keep the social distance required, as I've mentioned before, throughout the day. It doesn't make sense if we have small classes, different teachers in different classes, other classes, and when the learners leave school, then they disregard all the rules as far as this is concerned. Learners, this is really for your safety, for your own well-being. From the moment you leave your house in the morning until you are back in your house, social distance is imperative. Please follow that at all time. Dear parents, a lot was said to you today, but on the bright side, I'm so glad that we are here to start on the 1st. Remember, grade 12s, especially for you, your exam papers was already set in January. So this means we must cover the whole syllabus. You must be taught properly. But you're actually lucky in this regard. There's a short amount of time, a condensed period, but it's still long enough for us at Roosevelt to really deliver the whole curriculum to you. I believe with this added focus and the added good pressure that's on all of us, and the fact that my staff are fully prepared, we can actually have better results in the end of the day, because the whole focus is on academics, and perhaps that's a good thing. That's the positive spin off of this COVID epidemic that has hit us so hard. So if we all do collectively what we should do, we really can have not good results, but better results, as I've said in the past also. I really want to say there is a zero tolerance policy for anything that's not conducive for teaching and learning. If a learner doesn't comply, unfortunately, that learner will be asked to go home. We don't have the luxury of time to spend on things that's unnecessary. But the good thing is, I believe everybody will come to school with the right mindset, that we are here to achieve, that we are here to work, and that we are all in this boat together, the parents, the learners, and the school. And all of us have one goal, and that is to get good, positive results at the end of the day. I want to repeat what I've said 3 days ago, that there's no such thing as just a pass for everybody. There's no such thing. And in my head, it's the right thing to do, because there's enough time with the extended school days and the teaching that's happening on Saturdays that we will be able to carry the whole syllabus over to every learner. In the other grades, remember, in grade 8 to 11, we will mainly set the final exam papers. But we will carry over the whole syllabus to the learners, and therefore it will be a proper exam papers, and we will only ask what has been taught in class. We will not be unfair. And because of all of these things, learners, if you don't pass the end of the year, it will be your doing, not the COVID-19 epidemic that you can blame. If everybody do what they need to do now, we will have a successful year. And I strongly believe it's positive and possible. I'm so glad that the Minister is allowing us to come back to school. I understand her constraints. It must be in a very, very difficult situation at these stages to negotiate all of these things. It's very uncertain times. The school and the management of schools don't have experience of these things that happened in the past. So there is a very positive feeling from the Minister and our district officers that this year can still be saved. And I want to assure every parent and learner at Roosevelt High School, we are duly prepared for you. This school is safe. Every classroom will be sanitized after the end of the day. Every week after, that's why we locked down at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. We will repeat the deep cleaning process at Roosevelt High School. So this is a safe environment for you. It's possibly one of the best places for you to be. Therefore, I want to wish everybody well. I'm looking so forward to receive all the grade 12s back on the 1st and the rest of the grades very soon after that. Be prepared that we will leave no stone unturned to actually make the school as safe as we possibly can. Therefore, dear parents and learners, be stay safe for these last few days when you are 24 hours at home. I hope you all look forward to coming back to school, which I think you actually are. I hope that you have learned in this process how valuable it is to have a teacher in front of you, and what an opportunity and what a privilege it actually is to be in class. Therefore, I expect good things and I see good times ahead of us. Together, we can do this. Together, we can be successful. I want to wish you well, and I thank you.